What it do, guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie here, and I'm back with you on another new fanfic for you guys. And this is a fanfic I have been looking forward to doing for the channel for a good while. And this is kind of the last one I'm going to be doing Digimon related story on the channel, to be fair. So I hope you guys enjoy while you can. Anyway, this is Data Hero Hacker, a MHA crossover with Digimon. When it comes to this concept, I always enjoy the Digimon and MHA kind of stories, to be honest. No matter what, they always find it to be interesting in one way or another. However, I kind of see a lack of fanfic stories that do the concept of what if Izuku had a Digimon team but became a vigilante instead of a hero? I think this is going to be an interesting concept to do. Plus, it's going to be more similar to that of my Deku the Summoner story, actually. So Izuku's not getting a system. So, yeah. Anyway, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? Chapter 0, Prologue, the new Vigilante in town. In this world, almost 90% of the human population has superpowers. It all started in the 21st century, where a baby in China in Qingqing City glowed that of a brilliant light. It stunned the world, and thus the birth of a new race of humans, or rather, the evolution of human beings began to be born, otherwise known as quirks. At first, he went through that of multiple many abilities, like the paranormal children, or meta abilities, and so on and so forth, before sticking to the name quirks. But leading to that was a dark, stressful, and destructive path, due to the discriminations that humans with quirks suffered, not to mention the fear that normal people at the time believed that quirk individuals were nothing but monsters, demons. Due to this, a lot of things stagnated, from technology to even that of the space race. But a new profession was created because of it. It started with that of people with quirks using their powers to defend others, save lives, and keep them safe. And soon after, more people with that of quirks began to use their powers, some for their own evil, selfish, and twisted desires, while those who use their powers to save others with those with quirks, or even from natural disasters. These people would start out as vigilantes, but before getting the name hero. It started in that of the United States, before branching off throughout the entirety of the world. The new profession would be known as pro-heroes. And such, the title of hero and pro-hero has basically become a staple for the past 100 years now, since the emergence of quirks. But what about those without quirks? Those with no powers? Like those before that of the quirk era. Instead of them being called powerless, they are called quirkless. However, powerless would basically be the best way to describe them too, as they have no power, no control, and are basically seen as nuisances in current hero society. Even if they could be the smartest person in the world, the most talented person when it comes to either singing, music, or even the most hardworking person in the world, they would always be seen as lesser to those with quirks. However, what would happen if a person without a quirk had a power, or rather had help from those from a reality, a world basically beyond theirs, but still connected to them in more ways than one, all due to one thing: data. Just the random codes of ones and zeros, and creatures that have been around even before the era of quirks, before the time of even humans finding out how to connect to the internet. Creatures that have been around since the dawn of time, and one boy who has the power to basically control them. Currently now, at that of UA High School, one of the most prestigious high schools in all of Japan. It's just like any other high school, however, there's only one difference. One of its curriculums, as being similar to that of a university or college, it has that of several curriculums, from the general education, basically the normal basic schooling. However, it also has that of 3 other courses within the school, that being support gear development course, the business course, and last but not least, the course that basically makes UA quite famous is the hero course. And the reason why it's so popular, and the hero course is the reason why, it's mainly due to those who graduate heroes from this illustrious school, such as the top ranking pros within Japan itself. From the current number 5 pro hero, Edshot, to the current number 4 pro hero, Best Genius, to the second ranked best pro in Japan, Endeavor, and the one that truly put the school on the map, that being the number 1 hero of Japan and the symbol of peace to many all. His name, All Might. The man has inspired generations upon generations, being a pillar for Hero Society, mainly in that of Japan. When All Might debuted about that of 20 years ago, he was a native of Japan, but nobody remembered him or even knew about him. Not even during his time in UA, as his records have been scrapped. But all people know is that he is their symbol of peace. He is the pillar that keeps Hero Society going. He is the one that basically puts fear in all criminals, no matter who they are. And those who think that they can still commit crimes while he's around, well, they are always dealt with easily. Because of this, Hero Society has flourished and grown to mainly that of popularity and based in finances. As today's pro heroes only care about one few things, that being money, their popularity, and how high they can go into the Billboard charts of heroism. Because to be honest, outside of All Might, there are only a select few heroes who actually take their job seriously. And because of this, there have been more cracks in the system than people give credit for. And even when you basically put a bandage over those cracks, doesn't mean they're gone. The people who have been abandoned by the current Hero Society. And let's just say a battle is brewing between those who were abandoned for 2 completely different reasons. And the reason why we are focusing on UA High School is mainly because at one of its off-campus facilities, basically a location known for doing that of rescue scenarios for the Hero Course students to understand to take care of that of rescue missions, this being the USJ, or as its full name, the Unforeseen Simulation Joint. It was just going to be the Class 1A's very first day at that of, disaster rescue training by that of their homeroom teacher, Shota Aizawa, who's also known as the underground hero Eraserhead, and the current rescue training instructor, 13, as she was basically giving out that of a speech on how dangerous their quirks are, as they've already gone through that of combat training, and that their quirks can be just as dangerous when it comes to protecting people, even when they don't, especially if they don't have full control over it, or if they have no intention to help those in need. Through combat training, it's to show on how much control they have, but through rescue training, it's to show on how much restraint they have when it comes to their quirks. To test them in that of certain zones that will basically push them through their limits when rescuing that of the so-called mannequins. However, that's when everything began to change. The lights flicker, and then soon figures begin to come out of a purplish portal. First being a man with that of hands coming through the portal, before then several other unsavory individuals began to appear from the portal as well, as the students didn't think that they were really much of a threat, or possibly they thought that this was going to be part of the training exercise, having fake villains while focusing on saving civilians after all. However, their teachers knew that this wasn't part of their curriculum at all. Those were actual villains that ended up getting into UA High, with Aizawa preparing to basically go down there and fight. However, as soon as he jumps down and was about to take on the villains, that's when a blast of energy basically knocks everybody back, even Aizawa, back to that of the stairs. Well, everybody else of the UA students basically had to, got knocked back on their feet. Well, some stumbled, with one student with that of, who basically said that they had false villains, the one with the spiky red hair, saying, "What the heck was that?" With a girl with pink skin and, messy, frizzy pink hair, saying, "I have no idea. Did one of the villains do that?" With then, one of the tallest boys with that of weird arms, actually, and a mask over that of his mouth, as something comes out of one of his weird arms, as it looks like an eye, saying, "There's somebody else down there. Not with it doesn't seem like they're with the villains." With all the students look at them, with even 13, as she gets closer, within realizing, wait, I know that figure. However, with that of the villains, currently with the ones who consider that of the ringleaders, as one of them being that of a man wearing a navy blue shirt, long shirt and pants, with red shoes, with hands all across his body and even across his face, with his teal blue hair and red and piercing red eyes, glaring at the person, saying, "You, what the hell are you doing here?" With then another one of the ringleaders, a guy who's basically completely composed of purple mist, with his red eyes narrowing, saying, "I didn't think you would show up. How did you even know where we were?" But then, as they look at the figure, as that figure basically wearing nothing but a black trench coat, black pants. However, under the trench coat, there's a tinge of green under it. Not to mention him having a mask that covers his face. And however, what stands out the most is that of his wild green hair and the goggles that he has on too, that basically covers his eyes, saying, "Isn't it obvious?" As his voice is quite modified, actually, that people can't even know what his real voice is. It's not deep or anything, but it's more electronic, saying, when you've been gathering forces like this, it only makes sense that a lot of your so-called mob NPCs are going to be spreading this across the internet, especially during the dark web. Ways to take a key to defeat that of All Might, to bring down the symbol of peace. Most, rational and understandable villains would basically see this as nothing but childish. However, the ones who are desperate, the ones who basically would do anything to put down All Might because they feel like they've been oppressed long enough and are unable to live the life that they can because of current society, would jump on this within a heartbeat. So when you scatter the dark web for certain people making notes like this and spreading the name around, especially coming to here in Shizuoka and possibly around that of the Tokyo area, it only makes sense. And following you fools wasn't that hard either. With hearing that, the man saying, "Damn you, you damn vigilante bastard," saying, "Vigilante bastard." But then getting a better look at him, saying, "Remember the name, you hand job loser. It's Hacker. Don't forget it. Also, speaking of my namesake," before then, snapping his fingers, as soon everything begins to come back online, as even then, one of the students with that wearing a black jacket, black pants, a blonde hair with a lightning bolt streak in that of his hair, as he's saying, "Huh? Hey, I got a signal again." With soon a girl with that purple hair and that of a bob cut with that of weird earlobes, as they look like that of headphone jacks, with her also wearing black, saying, wait, you got a signal now? Which that means, soon, one of the students wearing white armor, who almost looks like that of a knight if he didn't have exhaust pipes coming out of his, suits, runs to that of the gate, before then opening it up, as he soon realized, the doors are open, we can all leave now! With hearing that, all the students begin to run out, except one that continues to look at that of the center. As they look down, they have that of a look of pure and utter shock, and also bewilderment as well. Within, he can't say, it can't be. That can't be him. With then, as looking at the person who speaks, as he has that of a black and orange outfit, with that of, quite a muscular forearms and shoulders and all that, with ashen blonde spiky hair and crimson ruby eyes. However, he's gritting his teeth saying, there's no way that's you. It can't be. You're quirkless. You're useless. You're just gonna get yourself killed. As he keeps saying this, saying, Deku. As the person down below feels like he heard that before then. He basically not even fazed by the words before speaking, saying, I'm going to give you one option. Leave now and take your lackeys with you, or you're going to be put into a world of pain and misery. And trust me, the last option doesn't seem favorable, don't you think? But then, the guy with the hands can't help but be twitching, saying, you know what? How about you go screw yourself, you little bastard? And better yet, how about I show you? How about I basically give option 3? We kill you and all those damn brats. With then, soon Korogiri saying, Tomura Shigaraki, we may have a problem here, saying, what? Turns the lights fully coming on now. The systems, one of our allies in one of the zones who's been jamming that of the signal here, has said that the signal has come back on, and they're unable to jam it again. Something is preventing him from doing so. With Shigaraki's eyes saying, what? Which means the heroes will be showing up soon. Not to mention, within, looking back up to that of the stairs, as he points up there, within, Shigaraki looks up saying, half of all the students are gone too, so your little plan of basically killing students alongside All Might is completely, toast as well. Within hearing all that, the hand-based villain, otherwise known as Tomura Shigaraki, couldn't help but begin growling, saying, you know what? Why don't you go fuck yourself, you little brat? Nomu, kill him now! With that one word, that of one of the other ringleaders, or rather, the tool to be used to kill All Might, his basic rushes towards Izuku, as being a muscular, dark-skinned man with that of, which looks like he has a beak mouth. His brains are basically exposed with that of, green pants, and completely and utterly shirtless and shoeless as well, rushes towards that of Izuku at blinding speeds. As for Izuku, not even fazed by this, as he's just basically standing there without even trying, as he's not even caring at all that the so-called bioengineered weapon to kill the symbol of peace, the anti-symbol of peace, his fist is coming straight at him. However, before the fist could even land, that's when the Nomu was sent flying somewhere into that of the nearby water fountain, as it soon basically explodes from the massive explosion and pressure, with all the villains that are around completely and utterly shocked. With then, soon, Izuku saying, man, you guys really do know how to basically wait on the perfect cue. With then, soon seeing that of a figure with red skin, white stripe patterns across his body, and that of a blue scarf, as they look like that of a, well, triceratops, with then saying, "Sorry, hacker. You really were the one who had the bit of a flair for the dramatics after all. And I wanted to basically have a little bit of fun too." With saying, "Figures as much." However, as soon as the Nomu gets back up from the water and rushes back towards Izuku, he soon stopped once again, but this time somebody basically punches him again, sending him flying once more. However, this time he basically skips on the ground multiple times before stopping and making a huge-ass crater. Within Shigaraki and that of, well, Kurogiri noticing the figure, as it looks like that's of a young boy that looks like a mix of a goat, actually, goat and human, from one of those fantasy, well, series after all, as he has that of a small black jacket, white gloves, and also that of, well, a red scarf and white hair, with a small horn and, well, goat horns on his head, as the young boy can up say, "And there goes, man, that thing really knows how to take a beating. I basically held a little bit back and yet it's still standing." After that, with seeing that of the Nomu once again getting back up on his feet, with then soon Shigaraki saying, "Will you bastards stop cheap-shotting me? Seriously, you damn cheating bastards!" With the two looking at that of Shigaraki as hacker going, "Us cheating? You brought in a small army of basically low-ranking and barely even well-received villains after all. To be honest, you're kind of you basically just brought in a bunch of NPC mobs to think you could take down the symbol of peace when you realized that that thing was supposed to be your trump card. Unfortunately for you, that trump card of yours is not even worth our time. Speaking of, better take care of it sooner than later. And so the rest, not to mention, you guys think you can take care of the rest of the other villains scattered around?" With then the two saying, "You got it, on it." With then saying, as soon bringing out a device, which looks like that of a flip phone. However, it's saying, "You guys already on standby as well?" With then one figure going, "Of course." And another saying, "Ready for your cue." However, another figure also spoke up saying, "Just give us the word." But then he can't help say, "All right then, Digi Squad, time for battle!" Before it then, as soon the flip phone begins to transform and modify, and it looks like that of a gun, which then catching a lot of the villains off guard, with some of them a little bit trying to get some cocky and arrogant as they try to run towards him. However, without warning, as soon as he fires, a beam comes out of it, before then materializing and morphing into that of a large gate that's blue and looks like it's made out of, well, rectangles, trying to shape itself into a circle. Before doing so, as then several figures begin to come out, as one looks like that of a man that looks like a giant green bee man with that of black gauntlets armor, while the other two, well, one looks like that of a bony metal armor with that of a large cape that also doubles as a hood, as you can see goggles on it. However, if you look on the back, you can basically see that its back legs basically look like that of blades, while the other looks like that of a demonic wolf with that of messy fur and that of a muzzle over that of his mouth. However, you can still see the sharp and fearsome claws in through the muzzle. And last but not least, one figure that originally Hacker didn't plan to come out, but he came out anyway. A little, well, yellow creature standing on two legs and basically looking like he's ready to scrap. Within, Hacker through his goggles saying, "Plusmon, you're not supposed to come out yet. You haven't had that much training and this is a big battle." Saying, "Oh, come on, you mean Hacker? Let me help too." But saying, "No, not right now. get in the back line, stay close, saying, "Aw." As then the one known as Plusmon basically jumps away before jumping on that of Hacker's shoulders, saying, "Well, at least let me get a chance to see how everybody fights. I want to have a little bit of fun too." Saying, "It's not all fun and games when people's lives are at stake." But then the villains that basically saw this and saw that of the figures, with even that of Shigaraki saying, "He's a summoner? How a bastard like him has a summoner class?" With the foggy villain Kurogiri saying, "Tomar Shigaraki, I've seen all across that of the USJ facility. It seems like many of our allies are being taken care of one by one in each zone, quite quickly and effectively. I don't know how long we'll last." Within, soon Shigaraki gritting his teeth saying, damn it. After everything we've done, after all the preparations. Within, Suit saying, "This is your damn fault." Saying, "Aw, blame me for basically ruining your plans." I call that a compliment. If it means basically getting in the way of stupid children like such as yourself, then I think I've done my good deed for the day, maybe even for the week. Within, saying, "But scum like you aren't going to change that easily. The main reason that you basically wanted this, you basically brought all these losers here so you can have some fun, so you can you sweet-coated them and basically talked out of your ass saying that now's their time to finally get what they deserve, finally live out of the shadows, do what's right. After all, the heroes get to basically use their quirks and hurt people as much as they want. Why can't other people do it? People who are not as well off, after all." You basically spoke out of your ass so much to the point that you got those losers basically eating out of the palm of your hand to be nothing but your tools and meat shields when All Might for the pros, and maybe even for the kids if they were actually capable. If anything, it just shows on how easily manipulative you can do for people who don't even have true goals or motivations. You're the same way. You're basically nothing but a mindless man-child that basically thinks he can do whatever the hell he wants, to destroy whatever he wants. Your eyes say it all. To be honest, whoever basically raised you did a shit job, or better yet, whoever didn't raise you did a shit job at the same time." With that, hearing those words, Shigaraki screams while scratching his neck saying, "Nomu, kill him now! I want his blood spattered everywhere around here!" As the Nomu has that of a powerful roar, rushing towards Izuku again, within saying, so uncivilized. And honestly, he makes it so easy to basically rag on him so much. He's like a big boy. He's like a little kid basically throwing a temper tantrum. It's so pathetic. Not as cool as you, Hack. Within saying, "Aw, thanks, man. Appreciate the words of kindness." As Hacker looked like he closed his eyes behind his goggles. As the Nomu trying to get closer. However, it's not like he's going to be able to. Mainly because of two people standing in his way. As they soon basically slice off his arms with their massive claws. This being the two quadrupedal figures, as they step behind that of the Nomu, with the Nomu realizing his arms are gone. Before then, at a pretty fast rate, they begin to regenerate and grow back. Within, Hacker narrowing his eyes saying, "So it was true as well. Multiple quirks too." With that, Shigaraki laughing, saying, even though I can't see it that closely, I can tell by the look. You're being quiet. You didn't know Nomu had multiple quirks." "Oh, I did. I just thought you were talking out of your ass, handjob." Saying, "Shut up! My name's not handjob! It's Tomura Shigaraki! Tomura Shigaraki! Remember it, you damn vigilante bastard!" Within saying, "Yeah, I'll remember it when I get a chance to." At any rate, even with that of the multiple quirks, I'm guessing since it's able to take it took a lot of hits from that of both Beitel Gamamon and also Igiomon too, pretty easily, proving that it has some kind of a quirk that allows it to take on physical blunt damage. I don't think it's being nullified because it still feels the pain and gets ragdolled. So it means it's basically shock absorption. It's absorbing blunt force trauma after all. But just because it can absorb it means it also has a limit. And seeing that it regenerates from basically having cuts, proving that the shock absorption doesn't work on that of claws or anything sharp like blades. Which means to counter it, it's able to regenerate pieces of its body. However, but what would happen if those pieces are constantly being sliced apart to the point that the regeneration was fully taxed? And since it isn't absorbing blunt force damage for that of the regeneration quirk to also kick in, which also means that regeneration quirk can be taxed as well. With Hacker coming to this realization and can't help but smirk behind his mask, saying, even with multiple quirks, people tend to forget quirks are not some omnipotent, omniforceable power. Every quirk has a weakness. Every quirk has its limits as well. And there isn't a quirk I can't analyze or any ability I can't dissect. With then saying, Biohuckmon, Lugermon, you know what to do. Tear that thing apart past its limits. Within, soon, Biohuckmon saying, you got it, boss. With Lugermon saying, if thou wishes it, it shall be done in your name. With then, soon, the two quadrupedal creatures rush towards that of the Nomu, whose arms have now fully regenerated. As then, the two begin to lunge, slash, strike, and jump over that of the Nomu while basically dealing so much damage to it, gouging out pieces and chunks of its flesh from its arms, legs, chest, and even pits of its brain. It's when they basically hit its brain that that the regeneration and its motor functions begin to slow down. With then, soon, Korogiri saying, this is bad, as he's looking closer at the Nomu, taking so much damage from the two, as they're moving so quickly and so fiercely, and even attacks are so strong that they're gouging out pieces of the Nomu so easily, even though the Nomu's body is supposed to be sturdy and powerful, engineered to handle All Might's blows and hits, while basically dealing out the same amount of damage in the same time. This creature was not made for creatures like that, whatever they are. With then Shigaraki saying, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. This can't be happening. With saying, Kurogiri, help the damn Nomu. Go in there and do some aid and support. With then saying, I can't, Tomer Shigaraki. Even if I use my warp gate, their reaction, their speed, my warp gate would not make it in time to basically trap them. Or even if I did, I wouldn't be able to close my warp gate fast enough before they react. I can tell by their body and movements. It's precise, quick, and agile. What we are looking at are basically creatures who have basically seen and gone through battle. With that, soon, Shigaraki growling as he scratches his neck so much to the point that his skin begins to bleed. As he looks back at that of Hacker saying, you! I'm gonna kill you! But then, seeing this, as Plusmon saying, you heard that, right, boss? Saying, yeah, I heard him. And he's coming straight at us. Pretty quickly, too. As he's not lying, as Shigaraki, for somebody who looks so scrawny and lengthy and almost looks like a mere wind could basically, push him over. He's moving quite fast for somebody of his build. Too bad for Shigaraki. Hacker is actually capable of reading his movements pretty easily. And at the same time, as soon as he switches his device, which was in that of its gun form, as then he begins to aim not for Shigaraki, but for the ground. With then seeing that as the beam hits the ground, creating that of a small explosion that basically forces that of a shockwave that knocks back Shigaraki, with even debris basically hitting him as well, as one even knocks off that of the mask that was on his face. Within him realizing, say, "No, father!" With then hearing that, the one known as Hacker saying, "Wait, father? What do you mean by that?" With soon, Shigaraki soon sent flying, with many of the villains realizing, "Oh shit, we are so screwed. If that damn hand guy isn't taking care of them, then what the hell are we gonna do?" With it, however, without warning, they're soon wrapped up into that of some weird scarf, wrapping-like object, as it being from Eraserhead, as Aizawa is using his quirk on them while basically bringing him to him, knocking them out with simple punches, kicks, and knees to that of their guts and faces, causing them to pass out. Within, he can't help but smirk, saying, "As much as I hate the fact that we're getting help from a vigilante, he's dealing a lot more work, not to mention that creature. The fact that Hacker says that thing has multiple quirks, I don't think he's lying. Plus, I can see it. Possibly a super strength quirk, a regeneration quirk, and if he's right, a shock absorption quirk. Proving that whoever made that thing, or who is that thing, is a true monster that could have basically put All Might on his paces. Honestly, if I'm going to be completely honest, I'm glad that the oaf isn't even here." With then looking at Hacker saying, as much as I hate you, Hacker, I gotta thank you for protecting my students. Within, soon, Hacker noticing Aizawa was looking at him, as he couldn't help but give him that of a thumbs up. With Plusmon doing the same, causing Aizawa to have that of a tick mark of annoyance towards that of the vigilante. As for that, he's getting a call. He begins, as his, gun-like object begins to basically ring, as he soon switches it back to that of the flip phone configuration. Within, a hologram screen appears saying, "Hacker, all villains in each area and zone have been taken care of." Within, the one known as Digimon saying, "Taking care of the ones in that of the flood zone, also taking care of the ones in the rain zone, alongside those in that of the abandoned city zone." Within, the one with that of the, green bee attire saying, "Stingmon here and taking care of the ones in that of the forest zone, the landslide zone, and also that of the mountain zone." Within, the last one being that of Beta Gammamon saying, "Beta Gammamon 2, taking care of the ones in the conservation zone, the snow zone, alongside that of the cave-in zone 2, just to be thorough." Saying, "Thanks, guys. Well done." And if that's enough time, before then, bursting through that of the doors is that of the UA faculty. And the one leading the charge is no other than the number one hero of Japan, All Might himself. As there are rumors about him being a teacher at UA this year. However, with that of the Nomu and the two other, quadrupedal creatures, as they both basically stop holding back as they begin to use weird attacks. With that of Biohuckmon jumps up in the air, spins as his front claws begin to basically glow, saying, "Fifth Cross!" As it basically gouges huge chunks of the Nomu's body, as it soon screams out in pain as blood and basically dead tissue begins to basically go everywhere. Before then, not stopping there, as Lugermon soon basically stands in place, ready, saying, "Prepare for your end, foul creature." As he opens up his mouth, even though with the muzzle on, he opens it up so wide that you can actually now he breaks it off. Within, soon something begins to gather in front of his mouth. As it looks like that, a pure, utter fire saying, "Howling Burner!" Before then sending a pure, concentrated beam of flames from his mouth through that of the Nomu, all the way from its mouth through its back. Within, the Nomu, unable to basically squeal and wail due to that of its lungs and many of its other organs, completely and utterly burned to cinders. Not even it's to the point that even his entire wound has been cartilized as well, unable to regenerate, as it soon basically slumps to the ground, lifeless, and nothing left. Within, Shigaraki, realizing this, saying, "This can't be happening. This can't be happening. This can't be happening." Within, soon, with that of, his switching his device back into the gun form, saying, "This is over. Time to say goodbye." Tomura Shigaraki, was it? As he's about to pull the trigger, that's when Kurogiri and Nata split in total moment. As his body moved faster than than basically anybody could react, he completely consumed that of himself alongside that of Shigaraki. As Hacker sends the blast, however, all he hit was basically nothing, creating that of a small crater shockwave. Within, winds basically go everywhere and a huge dust cloud emerges. But him couldn't help but scoff in annoyance, saying, "Damn, I guess that thing could have reacted unless the main villain was basically taken care of." If anything, I don't even think he's real anymore. That thing is definitely more of a lapdog and a tool than a person. With then hearing that, plus Mon saying, "That should be taking care of everything, right?" Saying, "Yeah, it is." Before then, the three figures had basically went across everywhere, alongside that of the two quadrupedal figures, basically head back to that of their leader, saying, "Good work, guys. We took care of everything here, and the pros are here too. We should get going." But all of them say, "Right." Before, as he soon switches that of the gun back to normal, and then raising up that of the device, causing all of them to be sucked back into it. Even that of Plusmon as well. Before then, he soon creates that of another portal, which then somebody was about to stop him before he dodges out of the way, saying, "Haha, quick reflexes as always, Aizawa." Saying, "You hacker, you have a lot of explaining. Sorry, don't have time to talk. Gotta get going. Besides, I got some other things to take care of besides talking to that of the pros of UA High. I won't lie, it would have been good to get at least an autograph from you guys." Before then, jumping through that of the portal, as a figure almost grabbed him, as it being All Might, saying, "No, you don't! How are you? What are you?" Saying, "Sorry, All Might, got no time to talk, after all." Before anything, the portal closes, as All Might believing that his arm was going to be cut off. However, instead, it wasn't. It's still intact, which again is surprising. As he looks around, feeling around it, saying, "I still have my arm. How is that possible? Portal type quirks like that should have cut it right through off." But then soon, Aizawa saying, "This is your first time interacting with him. That is Hacker. His quirk isn't like any other quirk that you've seen in our world. It's different. All we can say is every time when he's around, huge amounts of data spikes and even signal malfunctions always happen when he's around. He's a vigilante that it's mainly located here in Shizuoka. However, he's known to be in places like that of Akechi, Kanagawa, Yamanashi, and Saitama as well. Let's say several prefectures. How do we not know about him? Or how does a lot of people know about him? But he's mainly known for taking care of things in the shadows. Like, for example, certain gangs that have been causing quite a bit of stir and trouble, but yet nobody knows about them anymore. And you want to know the reason why? Then, looking back at where the portal was, All Might saying, what kind of vigilante are we dealing with? Before looking back at that of the corpse of the Nomu saying, and that thing too. With then, where the portal once was, is that of a workshop, basically an abandoned warehouse. However, it doesn't look too abandoned, given that it looks suited up, fixed up, and everything. As you would think somebody's been living here for literally months now, which they have. With then saying, that takes care of that. Before then, the young man begins to remove the goggles, putting them back on his forehead, through his hair. Before then, removing the mask, as he now sounds a lot more softer and even a lot more squeakier, actually, saying, there we go, that takes care of that. With then, bringing out, as he soon goes through his device, type on it for a bit, before on the screen showing that of the creatures that he had, as they all begin to basically change and alter into other forms. Before then, bringing them out as the red light Triceratops creature known as Beta Gammamon, looks like that of a small white Triceratops little creature, as this being Gammamon. The one with that of, however, the other stays the same, as this being Igeomon. The one known as Biohuckmon basically gets a lot smaller, and his back legs aren't looking like that of Blades anymore, but now looking like somewhat normal beast-like, figures after all. He still has the white armor and the red cape, hood, as this being Hackmon. The one that has a striking similarity to that of Lugermon is basically a lot more smaller, has more blue fur, and that's of a, red gemstone on its forehead, as this being Lugamon. As a little insect, little worm-like, caterpillar-like creature, as this being Wormmon, who was the man-bug hybrid known as Stingmon. With Plusmon coming right out, as he hasn't changed at all, saying, thanks for your help, guys. Appreciate everything you've done. Especially you, Hackmon. You really did a lot of work out there finding those guys after all. With then him scratching back his head saying, hey, gotta put a lot of work out there. Honestly, I'm just glad that we were able to figure those guys out. If we didn't, who knows what would happen. With then Igeomon saying, we took care of them pretty easily, and they weren't really much of a problem. If anything, I think we actually saved more people than anything. Before then, Lugamon saying, Master Izuku, do you believe what we've done was the right thing to do? If any word you follow, I will prepare. But if you have any, downsides of the consequences, especially what I did to that Nomu, saying, honestly, what you did was a little brutal, guys. However, given the fact that it barely spoke, it barely talked, or barely anything, if I'm going to be honest, it reminded me about those things we fought against years ago. But then, a few of the Digimon couldn't help but shudder on what Izuku was mentioning. But then, Hackmon saying, yeah, I kind of felt it too when we were fighting it. It didn't feel like it was alive anymore, just moved like a walking, moving corpse. With Wormmon going, just thinking about it makes me feel uncomfortable. But then Gammamon saying, come on, guys. This is a great victory. We saved people. We defeated villains. we basically put a blow on some wannabe group known as the League of Villains. I think we've done our great deed of crushing another villain group that didn't even had a chance to come up the ground. As Gamamon looking quite smug after all. Within, Izuku saying, "That's the thing, Gamamon." As then, Izuku heading to that of a nearby couch. Before then, sitting down, saying, "I think this is just the beginning. And we need to prepare, ready for what's to come." Within hearing that, all these little creatures saying, "You got it." Before then, Hackmon saying, "We're your Digimon, Izuku. We'll always have your back. Right, guys?" But all then say, "Right, yeah, of course. Absolutely, definitely." With that, Izuku saying, who knew that my closest friends would be creatures beyond that of data itself?" As this would be the journey on how one boy known as Izuku Midoriya, a boy with no quirk, but with something more, that being Digimon, basically grew to become this world's greatest hero in the shadows. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Love to read them. So, what did you guys think? You guys think I did a pretty decent enough job after all? I mean, to be honest, this was the prologue just to set up things and to show on Izuku's stance in this story after all. Like I said, he is going to be a vigilante. However, in the next part, I'll be going over that of the origin on how Izuku basically became what he is now. And that being a Digimon tamer. So with all that said, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please hit that like button and also the bell notification to keep to date my videos upload on the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, gaming channel, main channel, other channel, Patreon, and Cash App. All linked in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later, guys, and hope you all take care.